Hi everybody, Adrian Plass here.
Yes, and Bridget. Hello.
This is number 269 in Sounding the Shadows. That's
Yes.
269 weeks, just so you know.
Well, that makes us sound old anyway, but actually you are a year older, aren't you?
Then what?
Well, because you've had a birthday
Oh, my
than
birthday,
before.
yes.
What do
yeah.
you mean then?
Well, I'm a year
what?
older every day than something.
No, you're not everywhere.
Anyway, anyone who wants to know when my birthday is, I'll give you 2 facts about it that will help you. I have the same birthday as the Queen Mother, although obviously not the same year. Also,
Yes.
my birthday is on the same date as the date when the First World War started. So I don't know what you do with that.
No.
So it's August the 4th. Those are the only significant facts I know about it.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a really nice birthday actually, because people gave me gifts in a kind of spread out, because some people live at a distance, and people were sending things and emailing things, and I think
What you mean is that one or two people like myself didn't get it together in time, so
No, I
the
don't
gift
mean
did
that
not
at all.
actually arrive on your birthday,
No,
but arrived
I liked it.
2 days later.
I mean, even later in the week, one thing came really near the end of the week. It was really nice.
Yes, I
But I
suppose
think
so.
what I was thinking was that, looking at the things that people gave me, I was wondering if you wrote a list of them, what they would make of me if they didn't know me at all.
Well, last week we were doing we were talking about Jesus, weren't we? The image of the invisible God, and we looked at loads of aspects of him. Yes, let's listen to your list of birthday presents and see what it makes
I'll
of
read
you,
some of
Adrian.
them anyway. Okay, one was a very, very modern and advanced coffee machine.
It was. Well,
Which
it grinds
was a
the
shock.
beans. I know, it's lovely.
It grinds the beans. It does everything is necessary, and then it puts it all in a glass jug. But the thing about it was that, as with a lot of things that you don't have the best of sometimes, this coffee, when I tasted it, I thought this is the way coffee is supposed to be. But not only that, but because I usually have decaf, but because
We cheated.
with the machine came this very nice coffee. It really hit my brain like a hammer. It was extraordinary. So there was that. There were a pair of headphones from somebody for me to listen to music. And actually, the same thing happened. I put the headphones on, connected it to Bob Dylan's song, You're a Big Girl Now, which I love the Spanish guitar on particularly. And suddenly, I thought, I've never heard this song before.
So you drank coffee as though
Yes.
you'd never drunk coffee
That's
before,
right,
and you
yeah.
listened to me. This is ridiculous.
I know. And added to that, and don't forget, you're trying to get a picture of why people would give me things.
Well, so far
okay.
we've got what you drink, what you
Right.
listen to.
Right, there was you gave me 4 little cakes and other things. I'll come to that, but 4 little cakes in 4 little cardboard boxes,
They were
which are absolutely delightful.
beach huts.
Beach huts with a cake in each, and I really, really enjoyed them.
Well, you didn't have to share them. I mean, normally
No.
a birthday cake you have to share with everyone, but
I know.
they were very small.
I kept offering to share them, and everybody, thank God, said no.
Dear, oh dear.
So then there were 2 vouchers.
Oh, my
right?
goodness.
I know I did well this birthday. I
Well,
couldn't believe it.
Your children are adults, that's what it is.
I know. 2 vouchers. One was for afternoon tea at Raby Castle.
I know.
And we love Raby Castle.
Yes,
don't
so
we?
I got in on that act, that's right.
So that's really nice. And also a
meal.
voucher for a meal
I know.
at a favourite restaurant in Durham.
And don't miss up the fact that you were given a stool that is collapsed,
Oh,
and then
yes.
you can sort of do things with it, and it turns into a bit of a stool for when you go walking.
Telescopic stool.
Telescopic stool. Yes, that's right.
Which
Yeah.
actually we need at the moment. don't we?
Well, we haven't actually tested it yet. You sat very gingerly on it, and
Yeah.
it definitely didn't collapse.
Well, you need it more than I do.
Yeah,
'cause-
well.
Anyway. Yeah, so, right, anyway, so there's the meals. And
so we've added food to the coffee, the listening to the music.
And then just at the end of the week, as I said, a couple of books. One is a book printed, I think, round about the end of the Second World War, or
1920,
which is a book of.
It's The Happy Prince, isn't it? And other
it's
stories.
Happy Prince stories by Oscar Wilde, and I've always been
colour plates.
Absolutely fascinated by Oscar Wilde for all sorts of reasons.
But his stories, there is. I
think
think it would be hard to equal the storytelling. They always bring you near to tears. I don't mean just you. I mean, The Happy Prince is one of the saddest, most beautifully told stories.
Yeah.
I think I've ever come across. And then you've got, The Devoted Friend is a horrible story, really.
Yeah, I'm going to have to reread it. I can't remember it very well.
And The Selfish Giant, and
I think it's interesting that C.S. Lewis, who's another sort of hero of mine, I don't think Oscar Wilde is exactly a hero, but they're both people who
his
would be amazed, but amazed to find that the children's stories were the thing that in a way made the most impact. So and then so if you put those things together, I suppose someone will say I spend my life what? Eating, drinking,
and reading.
Yeah,
that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah,
and going for walks, to which you need a telescopic stool, maybe, to sit on.
Yes, the phrase telescopic stool is just a little disturbing, but there we are. And then also, you gave me a book which I've never read, but I think vaguely knew about, which I've got here somewhere. Just over here, which is called C of E, The State It's In.
Yeah, it's not a new. I mean, it's a new book, but it was written some time ago. I mean, she died quite a few years ago, didn't she? Monica Furlong, amazing writer.
And Monica Furlong is another sort of hero of mine because, I mean, she wrote about a lot of things. She was very interested in the equality of women at a time when people had to fight for that.
Oh, she fought really hard for ordination of women and women's rights in all sorts of ways,
But the thing that I loved about the way she wrote was how she wrote about faith. She wrote with an honesty and a humour.
And a wit.
That's right. Really changed my entire perspective. And she wrote a book called Christian Uncertainties.
I think you read that when you were about 18.
Very badly in America. In America, it would have been called heresy, just heresy. But to express your uncertainties and your strange little ways and what prayer actually feels like when you try to do it. And I've often said that in that fairly slim volume, Monica Furlong said probably most of everything I'd ever want to say, only better. In terms of actually constructively digging into things that need talking about openly and honestly. So, but this book is called C.E., The State It's In, and clearly it's about the Church of England.
Yes, I think she had a very love-hate relationship with the Church of England, actually, because of all sorts of problems, especially about women, so that obviously didn't help. But at the same time, she had a love for it that didn't mean that she was never just throwing the whole thing away, really.
I think she would have found, probably the way she would have found it incapable of throwing anything away, because it was part of her perspective on the world, that you don't plump for absolutes. You look at them and what they really make you feel and what's really happening. And I love the fact that before the book begins, there's a couple of quotes. The one that I loved, this was a notice on the church door of the parish church of Sidmouth in Devon, right? And clearly, it wasn't meant to be a profound statement. It's meant to be to do with the fact that the door needed sorting out.
And it's some oiling.
And what it actually said was this. I suppose a sort of summary of what she wanted to say in this really quite large book. It said, "The door is sticking. Please push hard. The church is open." And she then put, I suppose, what sounds slightly more serious one, but I don't know actually who wrote this. This was no, I don't know. Our church. It was handwritten notice on a church wall in Farningham, Kent, seen during the Kosovo crisis. And this was what it said: "Our church has a purpose: to love God, to serve our brothers and sisters, to bring a message of God's love, reconciliation, peace to a world that desperately needs to hear it." But I like the door sticking, please push hard, the church is open.
Well, it's a fascinating thing, the more you think about it, isn't it? That it's really hard sometimes. It's you think you're going to go into something that's really special and wonderful. The door is so hard to get open. Yeah. And, if you push hard enough, is that how you thought about it? Or why did you like it so much?
I think because it showed, it introduced her willingness to look at the fact that it's worth getting the door open.
And how easy it would be to be off-put by the fact that it's jolly difficult.
By the fact that it's difficult.
Yeah.
And that it's worth the try. It's worth looking. It's worth getting into. But the whole thing, I haven't read the book yet, but the stuff I read in the old days and these comments here, I wonder why it is. Why is it that people find it so very, very difficult to talk with a human voice about the things they believe in? What happens to the channel of communication that might be very clear at one moment, and then just becomes jammed, and you can't get into it? That's a big
old question. But I was going back to Oscar Wilde in a way, to these stories, Adrian, and I mean these stories, and if you have never read The Happy Prince, then your life is missing something. And some of these other stories, because they creep in, like we've talked about so often about poetry and music and other things. They do get in. They do creep in under the door. Sort of they manage to crawl in through windows that have been quite sticky and shut. The thing about Rumi saying the wound is the place where the light gets in. There's all sorts of ways that light can get in. But very often it's not just through thinking, how can I put something into words? How can I communicate it as it is? Communicate it in all sorts of ways.
Well, we don't branch out much. We're not very creative in our thinking about that, which is a great shame. And because her style of writing and the style of anyone who uses this style, what they're doing is flinging doors open and letting air in.
Yes, exactly. Windows, wounds, let light in. Yeah.
Which is a little bit daunting for those who are not exactly trapped, but perhaps fearful of leaving the place that they are enclosed in.
Well, I mean, if you think about these doors, right, so you're in now. There you are in. And I remember one New Year's Eve in a little church in the middle of the Yorkshire Dales, and it was for the special service of, it was midnight. It was Christmas. It wasn't New Year. It was Christmas. Sorry, it was the Christmas Eve Mass, which is always supposed to be open to anyone, and often involves quite a lot of people who've been drinking quite heavily wandering in. Yeah. And this particular had a person on the door. And every time somebody came in, there was a sort of annoyed hiss, and he went to firmly shut the door behind him. And it was like the opposite of this, that the people in wanted it all to be nice and solemn and neat, and didn't want the door to be opening and people to stagger in, maybe not in the best state, but wanting that special moment of something that is impossible to catch in the daytime or
and what is
at
that?
other
What
times.
is that then?
I think sometimes these special times, like, well, I suppose Christmas more than Easter even for people, but maybe Good Friday occasionally or whatever. There are times when maybe because of everything around you, maybe your emotions are a bit more open. I don't know. I've added alcohol in there, so maybe I'm not thinking quite clearly, but there is something about letting down your defences, whatever it is, and it can be those special times. It can be birthdays.
It's interesting talking about letting down your defences. I mean, going back to the question of why people don't have a way of speaking or a way of being that is as human as their humanity. What is the fear that prevents that? Is it a common fear that actually we're talking nonsense, that we go on about what we believe and God is this and Jesus is the other and all the rest of it, but actually there's a hum of worry that...
Well, when you're all gathered together, it can feel so sure, can't it? When you are in the warm, when you are inside, it can feel very confident. When you're living right in the world, it can feel much shakier. And I think we cannot avoid the world at the moment. It is pretty pertinent. The suffering of the world is the dominant theme of the news.
Is that, I suppose? I don't know. I remember, we've often mentioned an occasion when we were involved with a youth group, and
you're going to say there could be many tales about to come out.
One of the people who was running the church happened to be there on this occasion, and there was a lot of laughter and a lot of ordinariness going on with the young people and with us, and then he said, if I can remember his exact words, well, we have had some fun, let's turn to prayer now. Now, there's nothing actually wrong with that, but it's almost like the coffee after the service. Suddenly...
What, the opposite of that, you mean?
No, it's the same. The opposite, the other way around. Yeah, there's permission to be ordinary old who you are.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of the time, you're having to continually construct, either with words or with behaviour, something that, in one sense, you're unsure about. Although, paradoxically, I think more and more, the older I've got, the more I've found that if I pursue my unsureness far enough, I do reach a ledge. I remember when one of our children had a very bad accident some years ago, and we were
many years ago.
Many years ago, we were in the hospital, and I was praying, obviously, that I wanted it all to be all right, and there wasn't anything in me. It didn't do anything. It didn't hit anything. It wasn't anything. And finally, I landed on a ledge. I remember it very well. And I tried to identify what the ledge was. And I don't think I could then. I don't think I can now. But I do have that ledge. And I think many people have it. And you usually find it when you push through the silliness and ask yourself, where am I going to land when I come through this? And I think what people like Monica Furlong did, and still does through her books, is to say, you don't have to move into some other world of behaviour or speech or anything else. in order to find the ledge that is being created in you, where you can rest and be okay. I know it's a bit vague, but I think that's where I am in many ways. I think it's easier to be like that now. I think. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to reading this book very much.
And to going out to dinner, and to having your cream tea.
Yeah. No, I don't need a ledge
and
for
to
all
sitting
that.
on your stool. What do we say it was called?
My telescopic
your telescopic stool. And finishing your little cakes.
And we'd very much like to hear of anybody else who has a telescopic stool. If you'd like to
or knows what it
that.
is.
It's really awkward because you have to take hold of one end, twist the other end, and it starts to open.
Like a concertina.
Yeah, it is. And then you have to turn the second end to make it stop. So it's a little... anyway. Yeah, so there we are. I am a reading, eating, drinking, telescopic stool, sitting, ledge hunting.
I'll tell you what I'd like to know. I mean, like you said, this pretty well summed you up, really, from people who love you. And I was thinking, I wonder if anybody else has got a present that they were given that they feel just about sums them up, really, or
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I remember someone who was given something to prevent the smell of socks. I can't remember who it was.
On that note, well, if that's fired your imagination, it'd be still very good to hear.
Wasn't your father given gifts of soap?
He was given shaving foam by his sister, who lived many miles away, despite the fact that every year my mother said that because he had quite sensitive skin, he used an electric razor. Yeah. But that went on. My dad lived till 96, and I think the presence of shaving foam pursued him from when he was about 50 until his death. And on that note, we'll talk to you next week.
Yes. Yes, we will. Bye-bye.